Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to CAV Canada 2021. It is so wonderful to see people here at Bayview Yards and to be back. My name is Sonia Shorey. I have the pleasure of serving as the Vice President of Strategy, Marketing and Communications here at Invest Ottawa, lead economic development agency for knowledge-based industries. Bayview Yards, where we have a wonderful crowd gathered here today, the one-stop business acceleration shop, and of course AreaX.O, our R&D complex for smart mobility, connectivity, autonomy, next-gen technologies. What a mouthful. I am thrilled today to serve as one of your two co-MCs together with my good friend and colleague Jamie Petton, and it's really an honor to launch what is the fourth CAV Canada. It's so hard to believe that we're igniting the fourth event of this kind. Hosted, of course, by AreaX.O, Invest Ottawa, and Canada North Business Association. We're thrilled that we have more than 525 registrants from across 3 continents joining us today, and those are smart mobility innovators, technology developers, researchers, industry leaders, investors, other stakeholders, and policymakers. We're just delighted. We can't wait to host today with you and for you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jamie Petton. I'm the CEO of the Canada North Business Association, as well as now Hub 350. And I have the honor of being co-MC with Sonia Shorey today and working closely with her on a variety of different agendas, but for today's purpose, CAV Canada 2021. At KNBA, we advocate on behalf of the members of Canada's largest technology hub with over 540 companies located and concentrated in Canada North. It is really an honor to represent a wide variety of technology innovators and solutions that coexist in our backyard here in Ottawa. So I'm honored as well to be joining you today just 1 month after the launch of Hub 350, our newly minted gateway, physical gateway to the technology park, and also home of the public test track and facility for AreaX.O. In partnership with AreaX.O and Invest Ottawa, we're proud to host this very special event. Today, we're delighted to welcome a top-tier roster of more than 40 speakers who are driving the future of connected autonomous vehicles and smart mobility innovation in our great city across Canada and around the world. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone who's taken the time to join us here at Bayview Yards, and it's nice to see so many familiar faces in the audience today. Before we launch our program, it's my pleasure to introduce Rita Alma, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Strategist for Invest Ottawa and Bayview Yards. Rita will join us to deliver an inspirational land acknowledgement. Thanks, Rita. Thanks for welcoming.
Can you hear me? Okay. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the land that we live and work on here today and what's known as the traditional Algonquin Anishinaabe territory. This land is unceded and unsurrendered, which means that it was never signed away or consensually given up by the Algonquin people. Why do we do land acknowledgements? We do them as a reminder that the Algonquin Anishinaabe people are still here and to help counter the force of erasure that is colonization. We do it as a way to put the conversation of truth and reconciliation on the table. That when we bring the truth forward, and there are in fact many hard and unpleasant truths when we think about Canada and our treatment of Indigenous peoples, we can all begin to operate from a place that is not based in false pretenses, and we can address and correct issues of inequity and reconciling the relationship between non-Indigenous people and businesses with Indigenous people. I know that the audience here is really passionate about the possibility and opportunity for a more connected and sustainable future. Everyone here is invited to actively take on the responsibility of learning how exactly reconciliation with Indigenous people and the work that you do can be brought together. Indigenous leaders I know have invited the business community to start by looking at the UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. Thanks so much and enjoy the event today.
Thank you so much, Rita. It is an honor to collaborate with you. You are truly a champion for change in our innovation community. And the future is connected, autonomous, electrified, and shared. It's safer, cleaner, and greener. And it's one of unprecedented convergence and collaboration. The future is evolving now with the leaders that will take our stage today. Smart mobility innovators and companies from Canada's capital across the country and around the world are going to bring inspiration and actionable insight to enable and accelerate the development and the safe implementation of CAVs and smart mobility solutions. These leaders are contributing intelligence and technology to future CAVs, low-speed automated shuttles, drones, and related technologies across our country and spanning diverse sectors. There is so much momentum and opportunity in this exciting field. The smart mobility global market is expected to reach $91 billion by 2026. Together, we aim to help you capitalize on the many new opportunities this creates in our backyard and around the world. Anchored by global leader and CAV Canada trailblazer sponsor BlackBerry QNX, Ottawa is home to more than 100 companies and organizations in our smart mobility cluster and global tech hub achieving these very goals. We're honored to showcase many of these innovators today, from startups to scale-ups, SMEs, and multinationals such as BlackBerry QNX, Nokia, Ericsson, and Ford. With the highest concentration of tech talent per capita in North America, our top tech talent spans many of the entrepreneurs and companies here today from every corner of our city. It also includes the next generation of innovators emerging from our amazing post-secondary institutions, Algonquin College, Carleton University, La Cité Collégiale, the University of Ottawa, and Willis College. Powered by Invest Ottawa, our capital city is also home to Area X.O, the futureplex of innovation and collaboration. We're honored to collaborate with our community to enable and accelerate the safe and secure development, testing, and application of next-gen smart mobility, autonomy, and connectivity technologies. And these applications, they're not just transportation. They span telecom, smart agriculture, defense, security, public safety, unmanned area vehicles, and smart cities. And building on Ottawa's multi-generational expertise in telecommunications, next-generation networks, and cybersecurity, Area X.O is a serious playground for developing and validating impactful tech. With 5G and one of the most advanced communications infrastructures in the world, this R&D complex is designed for all-weather experimentation, test validation, demonstration, and commercialization. Who knew snow, sleet, and ice could be such a competitive advantage? We are riddled with it here all winter long. And we're incredibly excited to partner with KNBA and open our doors for the first time at Area X.O's public innovation facility and test track anchored in the heart of Canada North Tech Park with support and collaboration space at Hub 350 next time we're coming to your house. Watch this space. There are many announcements coming up soon. It takes a village of committed partners to make all of this possible. And on behalf of Invest Ottawa, Bayview Yards, and Area X.O, I personally want to extend sincere thanks to our investors, the City of Ottawa, the Government of Ontario, including the AV Innovation Network, supported by the Ontario Centre of Innovation, FedDev Ontario, and the Government of Canada. And of course, all of our founding partners in Area X.O, Industry, Accenture, BlackBerry QNX, Ericsson, Microsoft, Nokia, and all of our post-secondary institutions here in Ottawa. Thank you.
I think what I'm most excited about as we talk about our partnership and collaboration with Area X.0 is this opportunity to showcase the decades of research and innovation that our city has created. And in Canada North Technology Park especially, that concentration has existed for years. And Invest Ottawa, over many, many years now, has done such an important job of bringing that innovation to a test environment. Our next opportunity really is to bring that into our living environment. And that really is the essence of Hub 350 and the essence of what we're doing in collaboration with Invest Ottawa, with Area X.0 and our public test track at Canada North Business Association. So this October, Canada North Business Association officially opened Hub 350, the physical gateway to Canada's largest technology hub. And Hub 350 is set to become the heart of the Canada North Technology Park, bringing together industry, academic, and finance partners to co-locate and collaborate. Anchor partners at Hub 350 include TELUS, RBC, Salesforce, Education City, and all of our post-secondary institutions here in Ottawa, as well as Queen's University, Area X.0 and Invest Ottawa, and world-leading public and private government institutions. Hub 350 will enable access to partnerships from that foundational element of growing local business in Ottawa's economy. I look forward to joining you all at Hub 350 this afternoon to help you experience this new facility. We'd like to take a moment as well to extend a sincere thanks to many dedicated sponsors that help make this event possible. Our trailblazing sponsor, BlackBerry QNX. Our innovator sponsors, Invest in Canada and Ross Video, who's helping us to achieve a spectacular hybrid event performance today. Our connector sponsor, Ottawa Tourism. And in addition to that, we have a special opportunity to thank the great team at Ottawa Tourism. At the end of each session, we'll be giving away custom-made gift boxes featuring local goods from Ottawa entrepreneurs and businesses. You must be online attending the session to be entered into the draws, and they will be shipped directly to the winners. Before we launch our program, I'd like to share a few housekeeping notes for our hybrid event today. This includes those who are joining us here on site and those who are joining online. First things first, here at Bayview Yards, your health and safety is our top priority. For those who are joining us in person, we thank you for adhering to our health and safety protocols. Thank you for wearing your mask while you're seated and when you're moving throughout the venue. You are welcome to remove your mask when you're enjoying some of the great food and beverages that the team had here today. We hope you'll use the hand sanitizer you received when you signed in with us at the reception desk. Our restrooms are located just down the stairs near the entrance and behind the stage. We thank you in advance for placing your phone on silent, and we aim to create the best possible event for everyone. To connect to Wi-Fi, please look for our Invest Ottawa guest network and use the password available at the reception desk posted throughout the facility. For those who are joining us online, we're using several stages on the Hop-In platform to keep things dynamic. You'll be invited to join the stage for the next speaker or panel at the end of each session. You can move seamlessly with one single click of a button.
Indeed, and hopefully my tech karma will not impact anyone in a negative way through that experience today. We look forward to receiving questions from our speakers and panelists via the Hop-In chat box. So please use that conference platform and share those questions when you have them. That does include all of those who are gathered here with us today at Bayview, as well as those online. Be sure to share your experience on social media using the hashtag CAV Canada 21 and help us create some great buzz about the event and everything we are doing together. We are also recording our entire event today so that as many people as possible can benefit from the incredible content that we've assembled and the amazing speakers we're welcoming today. We're also going to be taking a few snapshots and a little footage, so please smile for the camera. We're going to share today's event and all the content that emerges very, very broadly to maximize our impact across the community. It's now my pleasure to kickstart our day with our first panel discussion, developing and employing smart infrastructure to drive the safe and secure adoption of smart mobility innovations. Please join me in welcoming online my colleague Divyanshu Kamboj, Technology and Testing Director, Area X.0, and moderator for our first session. Welcome, Divy.
Good morning, one and all. Welcome to the fourth annual CAV Canada conference. My name is Divyanshu Kamboj. I go by Divi. Very nice to meet you virtually in this instance. Area X.O, operated by Invest Ottawa, together with a host of industry partners, technology providers, regulatory bodies, including Transport Canada and City of Ottawa, are adopting and developing new best practices, testing methodologies, and project frameworks to help facilitate the safe adoption of smart mobility solutions, including low-speed automated shuttles, connected and autonomous vehicles, and smart infrastructure. To promote safe adoption of such technologies for an all-season operation, particularly during Canadian winter months, it is imperative to test and measure the safety performance of autonomous platforms in real-world environments. Today, we look forward to exploring the goals, benefits, and anticipated outcomes of this exciting new project named Smart and Safe Intersections for Vulnerable Road Users. This will include a deep dive on the technological, business, and policy and regulation innovations that underpins this one-year project initiative and how it will support the safe future adoption of smart mobility solutions here in Canada and around the world. Today, we are honored to bring together key collaborators of this new flagship project that includes comprehensive testing and validation at the Area X.O private test facility and real-world technology deployments at the Area X.O public test track. Before we introduce our panelists, we wanted to help you experience the power of this project together with some of the key collaborators through a video. Sam, over to you.
The safer intersection. It's an intersection that is connected to smart city systems and provides the city with enhanced capabilities they can deploy to improve traffic control. These powerful emerging technologies can help keep vulnerable road users safe, help manage traffic congestion, help keep transit vehicles on schedule, help first responders get to their destinations faster, and reduce harmful greenhouse gas emissions.
One of the important things that, for example, at the City of Ottawa is we have 1,200 signalized traffic intersections, and safety is paramount for us. So with the cars of the future and as technology grows, the ability to understand how to improve the safety of vulnerable road users is really important.
The Safe Smart Intersections project is really focusing on protecting vulnerable road users by using technology to detect vulnerable road users as they move through the intersection and coordinate their movement with advanced alerting and notifications to the vehicles surrounding those pedestrians and cyclists.
What we're doing is we're helping Transport Canada strategically to provide enhanced road safety. So at the highest level, that's what they're trying to achieve.
Of course, we're doing this very carefully. And of course, we're also doing this on the heels of a very successful trial in the living lab.
Our project in particular is looking at machine vision sensors, ITS sensors. So that includes things like camera, LiDAR, radar, thermal, and detecting the actions and monitoring pedestrians around intersections. We then broadcast that safety information over DSRC and cellular to vehicles that can receive it. So then the vehicles can use the information to make decisions. And we're also going to be looking at, we know not every vehicle today is outfit with, the integrated onboard units that can accept these messages. So we'll be looking at other modes of transmitting that safety information to vehicles. So through cellular phones and displays, and as well by roadside display.
The duration of this project will span across 9 months. So we'll be able to touch multiple seasons as we go on. This is where the road sensing technology comes in, whether that be snow, sleet, rain, or just sunshine. We'll see how these sensors react to different weather conditions.
As we go along, as findings come in, improvements can be made in an iterative manner so that by the time the project concludes, advancements can actually take place in the technology and in the learnings and findings.
To me, the key thing is unlocking the data that sits in the city and making it available for actionable use. That process of connecting vehicles to smart city infrastructure and using the available live, real-time data is extremely valuable.
This testing is extremely important, so important that the data from this test will lead to recommendations and also find itself into the University of Warwick's safety pool so that everyone can actually tap into and make this market safe.
We're glad to see our earlier work on autonomous vehicle governance being used in joint ventures. Ottawa's Smart Safe Intersections for Vulnerable Road Users project is a great example of the power of actionable data gathering, knowledge brokerage, and continuous iteration among actors from around the world.
Another really critical component of the project is we're starting to introduce security and security monitoring of the infrastructure. So in partnership with BlackBerry, their Certicom division will be deploying a secure credential management system, or an SCMS, into the roadside unit and the onboard unit, enabling the vehicle to do that secure handshake with the intersection, ensuring that the information is secure, encrypted, and actionable.
We're taking the latest and greatest of our artificial intelligence technologies, our wireless technologies. We're really stretching our technical abilities.
So what we're here to do is mature our technology platforms even further and take insights and learn all our lessons from all the test activities that we perform here.
This project is a great way to test and validate technology, not just ours alone, but being able to work with so many different providers up on one pole in a public test bed to really validate that real world experience is vital.
We have a lot of different stakeholders involved and unifies kind of the mission and the goal for all of us to find ways to solve the problem differently.
Through this collaborative environment that we have, we can actually showcase and demonstrate, all these different technologies together and see what are actually the advantages of these technologies and how these technologies can be eventually deployed in a larger scale within the urban environment.
Ottawa is already sort of internationally recognized as the R&D capital for communication technologies, mobility technologies, and these are at the core of the work that we do. So anything that we can do to continue to showcase and advance these capabilities, I think is good for all of us.
Really what excites me is the ability to change the world. And here at Area X.O and with the partnership of all the different project partners, we really have the opportunity to start to do that.
And this is only the beginning. This is only the starting point. And this technology is going to drive us through and drive forward our future for a safer and more sustainable way for our cities to operate.
Excellent. That's very exciting. I'll take this opportunity to introduce our panelists. It is now my honor to invite our panelists to introduce their role in this project, the Safe Smart Intersections, and the organizations that they belong to. So maybe we'll start with Omar Choudhry.
Yes, good morning, Divy. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Omar Choudhry. I'm project lead in transportation system management at the City of Ottawa.
Today we were hoping to have Maya Ben Dror from World Economic Forum. Unfortunately, due to some family emergency, she could not make it. But we do have my teammate, my partner at Area X.O, Suzanne Cork. Suzanne, would you like to please introduce yourself?
Thank you very much, Divy. I'm delighted to be here and quite daunted to be standing in for Maya, but I'll do my very best. So I'm Suzanne Cork. I'm one of two business development directors at Area X.O. Of course, Divy is my esteemed colleague.
Excellent. Cliff at ThinkRF.
Yes, good morning, everybody. Cliff Ellement here from ThinkRF. My role is head of AI solutions, but we're bringing advanced analytics to spectrum monitoring capabilities.
Jim?
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Jim Lothrop. I'm the Director General of the Innovation Center at Transport Canada. It's a research, development, and deployment organization within the Federal Department of Transportation that tests and evaluates next-generation technologies for the safety, efficiency, and environmental sustainability opportunities for the transportation system. Transport Canada is a funder of the project, and the Innovation Center has a number of active programs in the CAV space. The program to advance connectivity and automation in the transportation system, the Eco Technologies for Vehicle program, as well as a variety of activities that are carried out at the Motor Vehicle Test Center to support advanced driver assistance systems and CAV technologies in general. So looking forward to being part of the panel.
Thank you, Jim. And last but definitely not the least, David.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. David Van Geyn here, and I am the Open Autonomy Engineering Manager for Hexagon Novotel, and we are in the office specifically at the Area X.O facility there. So I have a couple of team members there as well as others around the US that work on open source autonomy stacks and have worked on the Area X.O Lexus platform from AutonomouStuff and the software on it. So yes, happy to be here for part of the panel as well.
Thank you, David. I'm looking forward to the discussion today. This is really exciting, and I can't thank enough all the panelists to join us today. And these partners bring their strengths to bear as we execute complex CAV test scenarios in four-season climate throughout this project, the Safe Smart Intersection for Vulnerable Road Users. Together, we will assess innovative design, testing, and integration frameworks for emerging autonomous solutions, and how it interacts with vulnerable road users, and how we're able to commercialize these technologies moving forward. This is at the heart of the mandate at Area X.O, and we are looking to accomplish that and make take some first steps in that direction through this project initiative. There's no better place to begin this exciting discussion than with you, David. This is something that's we've been developing for a few months now, and you have been a close collaborator with us at Area X.O in defining some of the scope and size of how we can fit this into a project scope and implement different VRU safety test scenarios. So perhaps you could elaborate a little bit more on the role of Hexagon AutonomouStuff in this project, the technical and business value of this initiative from your perspective as Open Autonomy Engineering Manager?
Absolutely, happy to. Yes, so I mean, part of it is going to be using this Lexus from AutonomouStuff that is the the vehicle that Area X.O has at the facility there. To develop new software modules and drivers, partly to interface with these V2X, V2I, and V2V technologies. So we need to be able to interface with that from the computer in the vehicle to communicate with the roadside units. And then as part of that, we would be connecting the open source AutoWare autonomy stack to those V2, to that feed from the V2X, V2I, V2V modules, so that we can parse that data and appropriately adjust the vehicle speed or trajectory. So adding the support, we see this as something that will help others doing development and testing work using AutoWare, as well as potentially other software stacks, but it can provide value and benefit to other customers, to partners, as well as to the community at large, given the wide scope of the AutoWare platform and the number of different types of vehicle platforms people around the world are using it in. So we see this as, a great advancement to being able to add V2, V2I, V2V, and V2X integration to AutoWare to help with vulnerable road user safety.
Thank you, David. And that's a good point. And perhaps in the context of operational design domain, that's the typical definition we look to adopt as part of this project. Could you please describe some of the test scenario implementation and how much of that, moving forward, how much of that is contained within the vehicle's autonomy stack? And as you foresee these technologies getting more mature over time, how much, what role of infrastructure do you foresee as it relates to V2X communications? And also, you pointed out the open source software environments like AutoWare, and just perhaps some other things that you're already working on in terms of new software capabilities from AutonomouStuff team at Area X.O.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we, I'd like to ask you too, Divi, if there are specific scenarios that you want to mention, please feel free to interject. But some of the scenarios I'm thinking of, are a pedestrian is in front of a parked vehicle, starts crossing. There's a roadside unit that knows about that, transmits that information. that data comes into the vehicle, it can then act on that data and stop the vehicle or slow it down to prevent an incident of any sort, right? But I think that's sort of one scenario. Other crosswalk type scenarios, hidden users coming off side corners over their tall buildings, any things like this. And I think a lot of the work that's been done in these open source autonomy stacks to this point are not so much related to handling these situations, and they're handling very specific situations that are on very nice roads, like in California, particularly in a lot of cases. And I get Area X2O will have the ability to do this in different weather conditions with different types of vehicles, with different road surfaces, different roadways. It's a very interesting place to be able to operate out of and do testing and work with Area X2O as well as other partners to develop and improve the software abilities of AutoWare or other autonomy stacks to do collaborative automation and interface with V2X technologies, whether over cellular or DSRC. But to be a part of that is fantastic.
Excellent. Thank you, David, for your comments and your insights. In addition to critical collaboration with established multinationals such as Hexagon, AutonomouStuff, the project will engage startups, scale-ups, SMEs here in the Ottawa region as well. This builds directly on Invest Ottawa's vision, mission, and mandate as the lead economic development agency for knowledge-based industries here in the Canada's capital. ThinkRF is among the SMEs that will test and demonstrate homegrown technologies as part of this project. Maybe I'll turn over to Cliff and invite him to add his insights. Cliff, would you please describe the role ThinkRF will play on this project opportunity and how this initiative will help support your technology and business goals as a scaling SME?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I'll start off by talking a little bit about ThinkRF for those who don't know about our company. So ThinkRF's been around for 14 years. It's headquarters in Ottawa. We build spectrum monitoring equipment and software in order to monitor the wireless networks and analyze what we're seeing. We support many market segments like wireless providers, regulatory agencies, security companies, as well as the equipment manufacturers of the wireless equipment itself. Now, what we're seeing is as the wireless industry grows, so does the adoption of the wireless being deployed in critical infrastructure. And ThinkRF sees a great opportunity to use our solutions to address what we see as the new emerging needs. This would also include things like developing the ability to monitor RF spectrum across small areas like campuses, all the way to large regions like the size of cities. We also see the need to monitor the infrastructure continuously, 24/7, and provide the analysis and detailed understanding of what's really happening in the spectrum real time. So this is going to require a deployment of a network of sensors coupled with signal analysis and advanced analytics like artificial intelligence, which we're building tools today to manage the large amount of information we're getting from sensors. And this project allows ThinkRF to actively participate in a real-world scenario that encompasses wireless communications in a critical infrastructure environment. For example, we can ensure that there's proper communications. There's no interference when the smart infrastructure is trying to communicate with the autonomous vehicle upon someone like we were talking about just before, a pedestrian is crossing the street, a sensor goes off, wants to communicate to the vehicle. What happens if the network isn't clear or some kind of interference? Now, it could be unintended interference or it could be nefarious. This is something that we want to be able to detect and also notify the infrastructure owners when these things happen. So we also see the value of working with the ecosystem players, like the owners of the critical infrastructure, like the City of Ottawa, the regulating bodies. And we're going to see more and more regulations coming out of this whole environment. And we also want to learn about real-world deployments and use cases that are using wireless-based critical infrastructure.
Thank you, Cliff. That was very helpful. And We cannot understate the importance of understanding the safety implications of these technologies, how they're deployed in the real world environments, particularly the RF communications fabric as it relates to V2X communications, both DSRC and CV2X. It's important to understand how the technologies will also scale as you have more vehicles on the road with increasing levels of autonomy, communicating with the infrastructure. It is imperative to have visibility of how these networks are being deployed and are performing. So thank you for your comments on that. We're excited to collaborate with leading companies and public partners to develop new approaches that can be replicated by municipalities, beginning with Canada's capital here in Ottawa. We strive to help our region and fellow cities develop, test, validate, demonstrate, and adopt smart mobility technologies and smart infrastructure in support of the transportation goals. Everything we do at Area X.O is built on close cooperation with City of Ottawa. Omar, you have collaborated closely with Area X.O, Invest Ottawa, and many private and public sector partners on many smart mobility projects that are helping to catalyze the safe implementation of these technologies. Could you please elaborate on why you believe this project is so important to the City of Ottawa and how it can help advance our capabilities as a smart municipality?
Yeah, thanks, Divi. Thanks so much. I mean, I think, maybe what I'd start off by saying is like safety of all road users is key for us. And that includes, the vulnerable road users that we're talking about here today with cyclists, pedestrians, and those with accessibility issues. Maybe to set the frame just, so everybody understands, like the City of Ottawa is a little over 1 million people. As a landmass, we can fit the area, the jurisdictions of Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary within our borders and have some left to spare. And we go from everything from the urban canyons downtown to wide open farm fields. And Area X.O is a prime example of that, which is 10 kilometers away from the Parliament Hill. And yet we have 1,800 acres of land that we can actually go through and do our testing and validation and verification of different technologies. And so with, for the city, we have 1,200 traffic signals going from things like Rideau Street and Sussex, which is a very busy intersection, to signalized intersections out in rural communities. And one of the important things for us is management has been interested in and willing to be at the leading edge of testing, validating, and implementing new technologies. And this sort of project, which brings companies that we, maybe never would have ever thought of, Cliff and ThinkRF, has brings a technology that maybe 5-10 years ago wouldn't have been on the radar, but now be understanding security and the challenges with radio communications and interference and so forth is vital and important. And a project like this, which allows us to gain the, learning and experience of the new technology, understanding better what we need to do and consider for the future with connected and automated vehicles and how they will interact with the vulnerable road users. And then, another area which is sort of really important from us as a long-term planning is how do we make sure that we have staff who are knowledgeable from everything from the field tech who has to, 25 years ago, it was a mechanical dial that you set the little prongs and it would turn and that would decide when the light would switch. And now we have computer systems, we have, various LiDAR, radar, thermal cameras, other systems out there. And so it's now much more of a technology-based thing. We have planners and engineers who have to understand how these technologies work and be able to make sure that we're planning into it. So, a project like this, which brings so many partners and brings us an opportunity to really gain some institutional knowledge now, early on, before it really takes hold, is really important for us.
Thank you, Omar. That was very insightful. And could you please describe the critical role that you and your team at City of Ottawa are playing in this project and how the related activities will be integrated into the overall infrastructure management across the region, and perhaps some of the learnings that can be absorbed as the outcome of this project?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, it starts, like I said, with on the field side of things, right? Implementing the technologies and things that our staff never have had to do before. This project, through both at the Area X.0 at the private test track, and then eventually out at our public test track out in Canada, that'll provide our staff with understanding of how these different technologies get installed, configured, and so forth. And then from our road safety side of things, where our staff will be involved in this project. They're involved in reviewing intersections all the time, the safety implications of those intersections, understanding the scenarios from various collisions and other sort of incidents that have occurred, and be able to bring that sort of level of expertise to the project to provide those real world examples of this is a scenario that we've seen happen before, and being able to run through the test cases with the project team to be able to really understand how the technology can benefit and what are maybe some of the limitations and things that we have to work on to improve that going forward.
Thank you, Omar. Appreciate your comments. This project reinforces the value of public-private sector collaboration on our shared goals. Together with City and all the collaborators on the call today, we aim to create new VRU safety test plans, frameworks to understand end-to-end performance of these VRU test scenarios. And as a result of this project, we can share those outcomes with the broader community, which can be employed nationally and even globally to assess the safety and performance of smart mobility technologies. That's the key goal of this project. Unfortunately, Maya from World Economic Forum could not join us, but I'm so grateful to Suzanne for joining the discussion and helping on this specific thread, which speaks to some of the standardized frameworks that we're looking to adopt as a result of this project. So Suzanne, maybe a question to you, based on how we have put together different building blocks of this project. Would you like to perhaps share your perspectives on how this project is differentiated from others that we have observed globally, and how it will aid the standardized test frameworks and development of those test frameworks to advance the maturity of CAVs. Over to you, Suzanne.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Divi. It's my pleasure actually to talk about this. Our participation on the world stage and globally is extremely important, as you well know. So we draw from. I've never been told that my voice isn't loud enough before, so this is going to be a first. Anyway, so I just want to say that we draw from the World Economic Forum and Safety Pool with University of Warwick to get test scenarios that we can utilize as we're developing this project. But as we've indicated, and as some of the other panelists have indicated, there are some unique capabilities and unique features in our region, not to mention the climate, number one. And so being able to gather information from our project and feed that back into that global safety pool database is really going to be enormously helpful as others on the world stage begin to do this type of work as well. So taking those differentiating factors in the project that we're working on currently and making those available more broadly, I think is one of the key contributions that we can make with the project. And then again, as I indicated, it's very important that we begin from the work that's already been done and build upon that. So that means that each one of these projects iterates and moves us forward over and over again until we can really make a major impact on the safety of vulnerable road users as they interact with vehicles and other parts of the smart city infrastructure.
Thank you, Suzanne. And if I may add a point there, and the objective is understanding end-to-end performance of VRU test scenarios, and perhaps pushing the boundaries of what those edge safety cases would look like, and where some of the maturity of the software that needs to be introduced as it tackles that edge safety scenario. In this instance, we're looking at vulnerable road users. We have machine vision that's vehicle based. So you have cameras, LiDARs, radars. There's different technology that's deployed at the vehicle level. At the same time, we are looking to add perception capability on the infrastructure front. Similar sensor technologies, LiDAR, thermal, that can detect some of the blind spots that the vehicle may not be able to see as it maneuvers or goes through an intersection crossing, a pedestrian crossing. So that's ultimately the objective is for us to identify where those gaps are in terms of the overall operation of such a solution, a smart mobility solution. So through World Economic Forum and Safety Pool database, we look to adapt some of those standard nomenclature and how do we define certain test scenarios that can be replicated on an iterative basis, and we'll be able to advance the maturity accordingly. So thank you, Suzanne, for sharing your thoughts on that. Our collaboration with the Forum and University of Warwick for the safety pool will help increase Canada's contribution to global smart mobility, innovation, and safety. It will also help increase the safety of Canadian roads and the citizens who use them. Jim, it is a pleasure to welcome you to our panel. Thank you so much for your time today. And thank you for the critical funding that has been contributed by Transport Canada for this project as part of the Enhanced Road Safety Transfer Payment Program. Jim, could you please describe the importance of testing and validation in policy development and the commercialization and long-term adoption of emerging technology like these?
Thanks, Divy, and it's I'm glad to be part of a panel such as this that's exploring that next generation technologies. Look, I don't think I need to talk to this panel, definitely, and probably to the audience as a whole, that CAVs are a disruptive technology, right? They have a huge potential to improve the safety, efficiency, and if done right, the environmental sustainability of the transportation system. But to successfully harness these technologies, we're going to need that next generation talent, those highly qualified personnel that truly understands how to maximize the benefits of CAVs and avoid some of the potential pitfalls that they could have. And that's going to be done in part through projects such as this one and facilities like Hexagon, which is fairly unique certainly within Canada and honestly within the world, with the equipment and personnel and engaged local ecosystem. Just look around the virtual panel today of the companies that are directly engaged in area.x.o that can help carry out the tests in a controlled environment to truly understand what the strengths and limitations of these technologies are. My previous panelists have mentioned the unique Canadian conditions, but it's worth re-emphasizing it. Like the vast majority of the testing of these technologies is not done on a snow-covered, ice-filled environment. They're done in sunny California and in other areas around the world. So it will be through tests and pilots like this one, like that Canada and the world is going to be able to develop test methodologies and standards on how these technologies truly perform in all conditions. And we saw this firsthand through the work that Transport Canada did with Invest Ottawa on a pilot deployment of a low-speed automated shuttle last year, right? Like starting with testing in a controlled environment at area X.O and ending with a live deployment at Tunney's Pasture. Like, that work moved the yardstick globally, definitely domestically, but globally, on the advancement of knowledge of testing methodologies and how that technology functioned in a real world environment. And it's not just the Canadian geese, it was the Canadian weather conditions, it was how they actually performed and where and when they can be safely deployed. So look, the results of this project is going to help inform policies and tools that they're going to be necessary to support literally the safe and timely introduction of these technologies in Canada.
Thank you, Jim. That was really insightful, and to your point on talent and capacity increase, I couldn't agree more. We would need to have a vision of how we look to evaluate these solutions, smart mobility solutions, and how do we create a conducive environment where different stakeholders can play a role and they have visibility, a specific vantage point can be provided to them. both from the technology advancement perspective, but also from the regulations and the policy that will help us deploy these in a safe fashion. So I really appreciate your comments on that. So thank you, Jim, and all the panelists for sharing such valuable insights on this project opportunity and emphasizing how it will add value to the industry, the regulators, our municipality, and City of Ottawa, and fellow Canadian and global citizens. We will now open the floor to any questions. Let me see. I think there is a comment section. Sam, I'm not sure if we have any questions. If you can please confirm.
Divy, just while you're checking the questions, maybe I could share one last little piece of information that I truly value Invest Ottawa and the work of CAV Canada as they're disseminating this information. It's honestly through forums like this that we're going to be able to build up the knowledge and capacity of infrastructure owner operators. We don't have to go far across Canada before we recognize that we need things like CAV Canada to start disseminating that information and sharing the knowledge and to build up the capacity across the various different municipalities and jurisdictions across Canada. Like Omar and the City of Ottawa are leaders in this area, but there's more work to be done across Canada and other jurisdictions.
Yeah, Divy, I was just going to add to that. I mean, I think the other thing is, and Jim, I'd like to thank you and Transport Canada for the funding and the initiative to be able to help these projects move forward, because, without that funding, the collaborative things take a little bit longer and the projects are a little bit smaller and don't get to the size and scope and scale of what they could be. And we don't have as many opportunities to really work with, companies like AutonomouStuff and our Hexagon AutonomouStuff and ThinkRF and others on this project to be able to really move those yardsticks as you mentioned. I mean, the other thing I've always thought of is, as engineers and as technologists, we aren't necessarily the best at promoting what we do, and really getting, the middle school and the high school kids thinking about all the cool things that they could be doing. Whenever I talk to someone now, I always tell them I get to play with toys every day as my job, and that's what makes it really fun. And that's something that we need to do, because the opportunities within this for changing the way society lives, whether it's the vehicle doing everything, whether there's a collaboration between the infrastructure and the vehicle and what that pans out, there'll be so much innovation and change over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And we need to get that pipeline of people coming into the industry to be able to support that going forward. So thank you.
Absolutely, Omar, and thank you, Jim, for that comment as well. And I default back to that term operational design domain. The way the CAVs, at least today, how they operate, you could drive a connected autonomous vehicle in the desert for 100 kilometers. Chances are you may not come across different safety critical scenarios that the vehicle can learn from. So I think the operational design domain, which includes the actual environmental conditions as well as the capabilities of the autonomy stack within the vehicle, that in combination creates the scenario. So I think testing these technologies in different scenarios and the operational design domains that comes with it, it's important to appreciate the value of conducting these tests in a climate like Canada's, right? So I think inclement weather conditions, blind spots and visibility issues, those will need to be resolved, and we look to address, at least understand and learn from this project how that can be adopted moving forward. So I really thank all the panelists for taking the time to share their expertise and experience with us today. And I looked at the comment section. I don't think we have any questions right now, but Nevertheless, it was a very engaging conversation. Thank you again, and we look forward to keeping our community apprised of the exciting developments on this project as it unfolds over the coming year. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Divi, for running the panel.
Thanks, Divi.
We look forward to the work on the roadways there at X-Ray.
Absolutely.
Divi did a great job.
So, David, like the RF communications in your actual cellar, how are they, by the way?
Oh, down here? Oh, yeah. Surprisingly, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi works fine down here. Yeah.
Super. So, Divya, I'm not sure how it works. Are we all going back to the main stage now?
I think so. Sam, I need your help on this. She is here.
Compelling panel. I think what's so exciting about what we just heard from the panelists on stage, just the example of a homegrown set of technology solutions that are developed, researched, and tested by the Area X-Auto team and group of stakeholders and collaborators here in Ottawa, but then deployed in our living environment in Canada's largest tech hub. So interesting to see that those deployments are starting, but even more exciting is the data and the inferences and the insights that we'll be able to build upon from that deployment in order to put even more advanced solutions on the roads or in our environment in the future. So I'd like to thank the panelists for a really incredible way to kick off our event and an insightful discussion. It's now my pleasure to introduce our keynote fireside chat with Dr. Radhika Dirks, CEO